Our Unit 4, Lesson 7. Again, I know it's all broken up weird. It says Lesson 4 up there, but we did 3 prior to this lesson, or this section, so this is Lesson 7 for us. So complete the following. What is general form? So we've talked about this. So we have, remember, it's ax plus by plus c equals 0. Everything's on one side in integer form, so we don't want fractions. That's from yesterday. That's Lesson 6, was general form. And then slope-intercept, we just used a bunch for our warm-up. Y equals mx plus b. Okay, so let's go through this first investigation here. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the graph y plus 3 equals 2 times x minus 1 is shown on the grid. Determine the slope of the graph. So in order to determine the slope, what do we like to do? No, I mean, you could count it, I guess, if we're doing on the graph. I was thinking more of the equation. But we can count it. That's fine. No, you're fine. So up 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So up 4 over 2, or it could have been up 2 over 1, right? Okay, so the slope I got was 2 over 1, so m equals 2, just by counting. Is there another way, you guys, like the other way I would have saw, or I see to do it, is 2 times x is 2x, 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. I'm going to minus 3. Is that going to affect the slope? No, so I'll still have that 2x. Do you see what I'm saying? If I distribute this, I'd have y plus 3 equals 2x minus 2. If I minus 3, I get y equals 2x minus 5. See, that 3 didn't affect this being a 2, which we just counted. It's a 2. That matches up. Okay? So list the coordinates of point A on the line. So what is point A? 1, negative 3. Okay, compare your answers in A and B with the numbers in the equation. So we're comparing this and this to that and that. Okay, maybe red wasn't a great choice here, but see that's a plus 3, that's a minus 3, that's a minus 1, that's a plus 1. There's the opposite. Okay, so this right here, point A, is the opposite. Okay, so you can just say, this is kind of what they said here. These are A's. So we went y minus ya. So what is the y value here? Negative 3. Yeah, it's A, but it's negative 3 is the actual number. What's minus a minus? Positive. That's why it's a plus. Do you see that? We're doing y minus ya. Well, our ya is a negative 3, so it's minus a minus, so that's why it's a plus 3 here. Okay, here, x minus xa. What is, where are we at? We're at 1, right? So that's why it's minus 1. Okay, so it's minusing a point. We'll keep going. This is the investigation, so just kind of pay attention. Ask questions for clarity. If you need me to clarify, please ask. Okay, so then let's look at this one. So this line right here, this right here is the point slope form of it. Okay, so let's look at the second one here. The graph y minus 1 equals negative 2/3 x plus 4 is shown on the grid. Determine the slope of the graph. So what's the slope? Yeah, you can see it. You guys are used to it now. It's this piece here, right? You also can count it. Down 2 over 3, down 2 over 3. List the coordinates of B. So B on this one is negative 4, 1. And then what do you notice? Minus the 1, minus a minus is a plus 4. So again, it's the same thing. Okay, we are at 1, so is y minus 1. We're at negative 4 for the x. Minus a minus 4 is plus 4. That's why that's a plus 4, opposite. Okay, so same thing as from before. Okay, so then based on, so this right here, just so you guys know, spoiler alert, this is what point slope form is. In this form, m is still slope. We have a point, which is x1, y1. That's what all that stuff means. The y and the x are not part of it. That's our, like they constantly change. Now, the thing I want to tell you is that when we say x1, y1, don't let it confuse you. That just means a point. It could be any point. It'll always work. Okay? And again, how we open the lesson. Why is it called slope point form? Because you use it when you have a slope and a point, right? And that's why it's got slope and a point there. Okay, it's getting very obvious. Okay, let's keep going. Whoa, a little too far. All right, so equation of a line, equation of a line given the slope of the line and a point of the line. Consider the line with the slope of 2 passing through the point 1, negative 3, as shown on the grid. Our objective is to determine the equation of the line. In other words, to find the relation between x and y, which satisfies for every point. So when we do this, we need to figure out what are we missing. Okay, so for example, using the slope formula, remember you get the formulas and the forms on your quiz today, so you have to memorize those. That's good. Remember y minus ya, x minus xa is give your slope. The reason it's p is because you can use any point. I could do any other point and figure out their slope, right? Because remember, you can find the slope from anywhere on a line. So everybody okay with that? You find the slope from anywhere on a line. Okay, so you can see what they're doing here. Y minus a negative 3, that's the y a. X minus 1 equals 2. So what they do now is, which is kind of interesting, is they cross multiply. So they take this and they multiply it over. Like that. You don't have to do this part. It's just showing you where the formula came from. What's minus a minus? So then it gets you this form, which you guys already have in the previous page. There's your point slope form. Okay. I typically call it point slope form. I don't know why, but they call it slope point, so I hope that doesn't confuse you. But point slope. Okay, at this point in the exploration, the equation above is valid for all points in the line except A. So what we have is, we have an equation that no matter what I put in for x, I can figure out y. Okay, so that makes it an equation, a relationship between x and y. So to further simplify this, let's make it actually look more like y equals mx plus b. I can also do that. This is what I'm talking about, is that everything is relatable. I can make this turn into this very easily. I distribute y plus 3 equals 2x minus 2. I minus the 3. We already did this on the previous page as well. Told you we got ahead of ourselves. This is slope-intercept form of the same exact line. Y equals 2x minus 5. A couple ways I can check this really quickly. Look where this crosses. Where's that at? Negative 5. That's not a coincidence. Okay. Up 2 over 1. I got 2. Okay. All this stuff lines up. It keeps coming back. All right. So at this point in the exploration, the equation above is valid for all points of the line except A. Note the coordinates of A, blah, blah, blah. Don't really need to read that to you. Okay, so let's go down here. So this is just kind of the general form. So if we're doing this, this is point slope form right here. Right there. And if we are going to do that, we would just write in simply, this would be the y1, the x1. Doesn't really help us that much. All it does is I'm showing you again, this is point slope form. The reason you get that is because you multiply that over to the m. We move this to right there. That's where this form comes from. So essentially, slope formula creates point slope form. Slope formula creates point slope form. That's all we need to talk about that now. Let's get to some examples here. All right, so this part, yep, that's just, again, all the same. All right, so state the equation in slope point form of the line through the given point and the given slope. So again, we're given a point, we're given a slope. This is the part that needs to be automatic, okay? So please ask questions if you don't know what I'm doing. I'm taking from above, I'll write it here again. This is what we're using right now. Sorry, it's y1. This is what we're using. So, y minus 5 equals 3. Done. A pause. Questions? Questions at all? So look, this is the slope. Y minus the y is 5. X minus the x minus the 6. That's the form, that's it. Okay, I'll pause it real quick. Will you try the second two real quick? Try those, should take about 30 seconds probably. But one thing that's good that I saw a couple of you guys do, if you stay true to this form, then if you write it the same way you see it, you'll be fine. What I mean by that is y minus a negative 1. That clearly tells me it's minus a minus. And this one's just minus 1. So the only one that's affected is this one. It's going to be y plus 1. Yep.
I put, why is it minus 1 instead of plus 1? So that x, like negative 4 and then brackets x minus 1. Why would it be a plus 1?
Okay. Okay, because it's x minus the x coordinate. The x coordinate is positive, so we minus it. So essentially, it's opposite.
So it's always, okay.
Does that make sense? It'll essentially be the opposite every time.
Opposite every time.
Right. So if you have a positive one, you'll be minusing that. If you have a negative one, you'll be adding that. Okay, and that's in both places. Okay. Anything else? Good? Did you have anything, Ollie? You're good? You're good? Okay, so then this one, similarly, see these are both negatives, they'll both be positives. So it'll be y plus 8, x plus 9. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so now we're going to use, excuse me, we're going to use point slope form to help us get to slope intercept form faster. Slope intercept form is the best because you can graph the easiest, you see the slope, you see the y-intercept, no problem. We're going to use this form we learned today to help get there faster. So I'm going to go y minus 2 x plus 5. So that's today's lesson so far, right? Get that down, and then I'll tell you about what the point is now. Okay, as you see the end of the directions there, we want y equals mx plus b. The key there is I want y by itself. So we need to get this y by itself. We want the 2 off of it. So we're just going to do a little bit of moving. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute the 5. 5x plus 25. And the last piece, I'm going to add 2. And you're done. You have the slope and the y-intercept now. If I'm losing you, don't let me do it. Any questions? Good? Good? Right, minus to minus, so then the opposite, right, all? Yeah. Okay, so let's try the next one here. If you're close, let's get this one. If you don't get it after this one, please ask me something. Okay, so here, y minus 4 equals negative 7 times x plus 3. Opposite, opposite. I now distribute the negative 7. Okay, negative 7x minus 21, and we'll add 4. So your answer is that right there. Negative 7x minus 17. Okay, we're on the decline. We're almost done. Oh, shoot. Sorry, I'll give you my notes after this. Or here, Rich.
I was just learning, so I'm still learning.
That's good. That's good. All right, guys, focus, focus. Stay with me. We only got a couple examples left. John and Nick were solving the following quiz question. Determine the equation and general form of a line with a slope -2 passing to the point 3, -5. John can only remember slope y-intercept form, but Nick, you remembered slope point form. Complete their work, which is started below. So see what happens here is, this is like we did in our warm-up. Thanks. This is like we did in the warm-up right here. This is today's lesson. So let's see if we remember this. So what he did was, he took the point 3, -5, put 3 in for x, -5 in for y, and we are told the slope is -2. So he's solving for b. That's all he's doing. Okay, so let's do it. -5 equals -2 times 3, -6 plus b. Get rid of a -6, I add 6. 1 is b. So this answer is y equals -2x plus 1, using John's work. That's from the warm-up. Okay, did I lose anybody on that one? You sure? All right. So this one, sure, yep.
So once you get 1, b equals 1, how do you get y equals -2x plus 1? Where does that come from?
So that comes from this great question, okay? That comes from b is my 1. So see right here, that's the b.
Yeah.
And then -2 we were told, that goes there. If we put those in, that gives me the equation.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's a great question. A lot of people get the hard part, which before he was just talking about, and then just putting the answer is the hard part for people. Okay, so this one, let's finish off the point slope now. So point slope minus a minus means plus. We distribute -2x. -2 times -3 is +6. We minus 5, we minus 5. Y equals -2x plus 1. You see, this is what I'm talking about. We got the same answer both ways. Okay? It all comes together. Okay, we got 2 more examples. I'll stop yapping. We good? Going once, twice, sold. Yeah, Loki.
Yep.
Nice try, Logan. Nice try. Okay, the line on the grid passes through at least 2 points with integer coordinates. Determine the equation of the line in general form. So guys, listen. This is when... Okay, so this is what I'm talking about, and what Alex was just saying is like, so do I need to know all 3 forms? Well, listen, look what happened. This says the line of the grid passes through at least 2 points with integer coordinates. Determine the equation of the line in general form. So if you put your answer in slope-intercept, you lose points. It says in general form. So you need to know the forms. We're not doing this for no reason. Yep.
Do you lose all the points?
Depends what your work looks like. If you do some things right, you'll get some points, but it will not be just like -1/2. It'll probably be -2 because you didn't read the directions. Okay, all right. So what we're going to do is we want to find those points. Okay, so you can find those points or we can count the slope. It really doesn't matter. You can do whichever you'd like. Okay, so I don't know. Let's count for the slope. Let's cheat a little bit. So this one, and it looks like that one. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So down. Yep, so slope is -3/4. Okay, what's a point we can steal? Let's steal this one. That's the easy one. That's negative 6, 0. You like dealing with zeros because zeros are easy to multiply. Okay, so now from this point, we can go to slope form. You can do point slope form. It doesn't matter, but we need to get to where eventually? General. What's the piece we're missing? You're going to see how this problem is going to kind of ask you to do a lot and why this is a good quiz question. Yeah, you're missing B. So you guys can find B however you want. I don't care how you find B, but at the end of the day, we all have to get back to general form. That was a lesson yesterday. So let's just, this is a point slope. I'll do point slope, okay? So I'm going to go y minus 0 equals negative 3/4 x plus 6. So y minus 0 is cool because that means there's nothing over there. I don't have to move anything. I can distribute the rest. Now, who remembers? What's the problem right now? No, we don't need a common denominator per se. No fractions. What do we want to get rid of? 4 by timesing everything by 4. So I have 4y. Cancel that 4. Negative 3x. Cancel that 4. Negative 18. I'm almost home free. What's the last thing I do to finish this off? I move it over to the left. Add 3x, add 18. 3x plus 4y plus 18 equals 0. There's your answer in general form.
General
18 over 4 from, yeah, negative 3/4 times a 6. Okay, so this next section is fairly easy. In each case, take the slope of the line and write the coordinates of a point on the line. So there's making us go backwards. So we should be able to see the slope. So Logan, what's the slope for A? What? Correct. Okay, what's the point, Hannah? So we want the points. Remember, it's the opposites, right, dear? So that's a minus 4, so I want a positive 4 for x. That's a plus 11, so I want a minus 11 for y. Remember, we get x here, y here. Got it? Okay, so what's the slope for b? Okay, good. Lauren, what's the point for b? You okay? Good. Positive 7, positive 9. I like how she emphasized positive because she said opposite of negative 7, opposite of negative 9. Good. Okay. What's the slope, Luke, for C? Yep. And we'll just put negative 3 is fine. And a little tricky here, but what's the point here, Raj? It's all right. Okay, but we want the opposite. Okay, for x. And then what do you notice about the y? Yeah, there's nothing there, so then, yeah, we make it a 0, okay? That's the tricky part. Nothing's there, it's 0. Okay? Travis, what's the slope for D? -3. Good. Now, this one, the point's not there. So let's go ahead and cheat a little bit. Let's pull the negative 3 out. That gives me x plus 2. So what's the point now? I made it look easier for you. So what did you get there, Ridge? What would that point be?
That would be 2. No, negative 2.
Uh-huh.
And 0.
Good. Negative 2 and 0. Okay, very good, very good. All right. So